So what we're going to be doing right now is we're going to talk about handwriting. Okay. Now, handwriting is something that really ideally needs to be taught at home. Okay, because the parent is the one that can give the most attention to the child, and handwriting is really something that you need to be looking at that child the whole time they're doing it. If in a classroom the teacher has other students they're moving around, they can't always be there sitting with each student all the time, and so then some bad habits can develop. So what we really need to do is learn how to teach handwriting properly, and then communicate that with our parents so that they can supplement it at home. Okay? So that's what we're working on right now. So the first thing we're going to talk about is pencils. Okay? Now, depending on the age of the child, there are different kinds of pencils that are ideal. Okay? These larger triangular pencils are nice for beginning writers. Okay? Maybe around K1, K2, okay? K0. It's good for that. They're a little bit difficult to keep sharp though. Sometimes they get a little bit blunt. So that is a problem, but the kids are generally making heavy strokes anyways. They're not doing detail work, so it's okay. This here is a good example of a pencil. It's not quite good because this paint here that they have on it is very slippery. So the fingers will slide all over it, okay? So a nice wooden pencil like this is really good. These I think you can find at B2E or B2S. They've got little grips on them. That's pretty good, okay? If you have a child who's having real difficulty holding the pencil, what you can do is take a piece of tape, okay? Take the pencil, put the tape on it like this, and wrap it around backwards so that the sticky side is out, and now that'll help to hold the pencil. Okay, it's quite good. And then you just take it off and it up. Okay. Now, around K0, K1, we don't really care too much how they hold the pencil. And in fact, you don't really want to correct it too much because then they'll back up. If you're got a kid who's holding their pencil like this and they're drawing and they're happy and everything like that, and then you say, no, hold your pencil like this. No, I'm done. Okay? They'll reject. So you don't want to get any pushback from them. So if they're drawing and they're happy, let them go. All right? However they're holding the pencil, it's fine. Okay? Generally speaking, with K0, they don't really have the hand strength to hold the pencil out, so they'll hold it with a full hand grip like this and just kind of grind along like that, and that's just fine. Eventually, end of K1, K2, around that time, we want to start trying to get them to position their fingers out and hold the pencil correctly. But again, it depends on the child. It depends on their motor skills. If you have a child with weak hands, there are other activities that you can do with them. So you could, for example, do Legos or piano or Play-Doh, anything that's going to build finger strength. Putting lacing beads onto a string, or doing where you punch holes in a piece of paper and then you just lace the string through the piece of paper like that. Those are all different activities that are going to get that fine motor skill and coordinate the depth perception that you need, how far away something is, as well as the manual dexterity to be able to control each finger separately. Okay, so what you'll see that with like 3-year-olds, they just grab stuff, right? They're not really able to do this with their fingers. Okay, so once you get to K2 and K3, that's when we start getting a little more serious about the grip. Now, what'll happen a lot of times is kids will hold it like this. Okay, this is incorrect. No. So the pencil should just rest like this, okay? And then these two fingers are going to pinch the pencil, okay? So not this. This is no good, okay? You don't want to have this grip like this with the thumb holding the pencil like that, because then to make a circle they have to use their whole hand like this and whole arm to move. When they grip the pencil, you want to be able to see the paint in between their fingertips. You don't want to have it be too tight like this, because then they're not actually holding the pencil. If they're not holding the pencil properly, what will happen is, the pencil will push down like this, and then they have to grip it really tight. So sometimes you'll have kids who appear to be lazy. They don't really like holding pencils, and it's because they don't have the finger strength for it, and they get tired. So especially you don't want to have kids overwrite. So whatever you do, don't go and say like, okay, fill up the page with the letter A, B, 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 like that, and do that repetitive kind of thing. That will actually make the kid hate writing. It's not good, okay? So what you want to do is you want to make sure that whatever writing they're doing, they're enjoying it, okay? And that you're not overdoing it. Once they get tired, stop, try again tomorrow, okay? So, 2 fingers on the grip like this. It's a tripod grip. 1, 2, 3, like this. Okay? Some kids may have to start out like this. That's okay. But eventually you want to get that finger under. The reason you want to have this grip here is because now I can make a circle without moving my hand. Alright? Now, it actually takes an incredible amount of strength to get these fingers extended out like this and then do something like this. This requires a lot of coordination. The brain's going to work hard on this. So don't expect instant results. This is something that takes years. So they're going to start out in K0 like this, having a good time. Eventually, they might try and do something like this. That's okay, K1. And then K2, we start getting like this maybe. And then by K3, P1, we want to make sure that you have a nice tripod grip like this, okay, with the 2 fingers here and the hand resting like this. Now, if you do not correct this before they turn 6 or 7, then it's likely to be permanent, and it's really difficult to undo after that, okay? I notice some of you are not holding your pencils properly because, not good, okay? That's, see, right? See, so because you were taught not, somebody didn't supervise you. If you had 30, 40 kids in your classroom when you were in kindergarten, they didn't supervise you closely, and now you have that permanently that way. And it would be really hard for you to unlearn that and write it in a different way. So we want to make sure we correct this before they turn 7. Okay? Now, when they are writing, don't put the paper up against this, like here, right this, because see, now I can't get to the end of the paper without hurting myself like this, or I have to go around like this, okay? So you don't want to have this. You want to have a nice straight wrist, okay? Elbow on the table, and then turn the paper so that you make a T, like this, okay? Now I can write all the way across the paper without moving my hand at all. See, my wrist is straight. I don't have to move my wrist at all. Okay, just stay straight like that. 2 hands. Some kids will try and write like this, and then the paper moves around, and they're trying to write on it, moves around. Okay, so you want to make sure that one hand holds the paper, one hand holds the pencil. Okay. Now, make sure they have good body posture. Don't let them put their head down. Okay, shoulders back. Good writing posture like this. Okay. If they're left-handed, of course, it's just switch the other way. Now, you were asking me the other day about the younger children. They sometimes will switch handedness. It's fine. What I like to do is I will hold the pencil in front of them and let them grab with whatever hand they want. Sometimes they'll grab with their right hand. Sometimes they'll grab with their left hand. Who cares? It's fine. Handedness is not always set until 3, 4 years old, sometimes even 5 years old. They'll still be kind of sorting it out. Okay, and some kids will always be ambidextrous too. They'll use either hand. They don't care. So if you do have a kid who's left-handed, then you just reverse everything. Okay. Now, as you can see, if I don't have my thumb on the pencil, it's not a very strong grip. Go ahead and pull that out. Easy, because there's no gripping here. Okay. All the fingerprints are for is to create a grip, right? So this is the meat of the finger right here, where the little dot is where you have the most grip. Okay. Now I can lightly hold this pencil. Try and pull it out now. See? And it doesn't require any strength on my part at all. So this is a much stronger grip. Even though I use less energy, I get a much stronger grip. This is a very weak grip, and I have to use a lot of energy to hold the pencil to keep it on the paper, to keep it from sliding down, which means I'm going to get tired much faster. If I hold it out like this, and I've got the little dot right on the pencil like this, then it's almost impossible to pull that out. Okay, and that means I can make a nice strong line. Now sometimes you'll have kids who are reluctant writers and they'll just kind of lightly go across the page. Just kind of have to work on it. Again, these things take time. And you want to worry about the backfire effect where if you're pushing too much, they'll reject and pull away. So you don't have to finish the activity. You don't have to finish the writing. You just have to make sure they enjoy it as much as they can, try and get as much out of them as they can. Once they are tired, stop. Try again tomorrow. If they start rejecting it, if it's a fight, stop. So parents, if your kid's fighting with you about writing, stop. You're doing it wrong. Back up and think about how you're presenting the activity to them, how much you're pushing them. If you push too much and they push back, you're going to end up creating somebody who hates writing. We don't want that. So what we want to do is make sure that our kids love to write. Okay? Now, in our phonics book, every kid gets an activity at the beginning of the week where we're going to draw a shape. Okay? So what I might do is say, okay, everybody, can you please draw a nice big circle for me? Okay? Now, it doesn't matter, okay? They might take it, okay, so you have your piece of paper or your notebook, and they have theirs, and they might do something like this. No big deal. It's fine, don't worry about it. Whatever they can give you. If it's too small, you know what, that's too small, let's do a bigger one, just to make a bigger one, and whatever they give you, okay, good enough. That's what you want. Next, let's make 2 triangles. So it's a step-by-step thing. I'm drawing upside down. Okay, and again, they might do something. Okay? Perfectly fine. Okay. 2 more circles. Now, when they're making their circles, you want to try and make sure that they are starting at the top and going down. Okay? In English, most of your strokes go down. Okay? Down, 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 down. Okay? Most of your strokes go down. Okay? Inภาษา Thai, it's the opposite. Okay? Right? I did that backwards, right?
Yes.
Because, yeah, well, I'm upside down. It's hard for me to write Thai upside down. So like this, or like this, or see, everything's going up. Okay? So English is down,ภาษา Thai is up. Okay? That's super hard. You can expect a lot of kids to really struggle with that. Okay? So just relax, it'll correct itself in time. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to have kids who are making their letters like this, because once they start to try and write cursive or anything, all their strokes will be wrong. Okay? If there's a flow to the way you write across the paper, and if you're making your letters the wrong way, you'll slow down. You won't be able to write as quickly. Okay? So, all right, make some eyes. Make a nice big oval. Okay? Now again, your kids might do something like this. Okay, whatever. It's fine. Okay, it's fine. Make a C, and then the bottom of a B. And make a little U. Okay, Dick, what is it?
Pig.
A pig, good. What letter does pig start with?
P.
P, right. Okay, not pa. That'sภาษา Thai. Okay? So now again, depending on their age, K0, you don't really care. Okay? K1, K2, let's make a P. Okay? Now, K1 and K0, they will sometimes do it backwards. They'll flip. B to P will flip, right? Up and down, you know. Q and P will flip. B and D will flip. They just draw their letters any way they want. You know, sometimes, for example, my son Sam, sometimes when he's writing, he'll do like a circle like this. He gets really excited about making his A's. And then he'll do like an M, kind of like this. And then he'll do like a backwards, like that's supposed to be an S. And then he'll say, I wrote Sam, okay? Good. Okay? I don't correct that, okay? Because then he's going to be demotivated. He's like, I'm not good. Instead, I just go, oh, you wrote your name, very good. And then he's like, yes, I'm a good writer. Okay, so it's about building confidence and a love of writing. I want to show mom and dad that I can write my name. Okay, now is this correct? No. But he's 3, who cares? Right? We'll fix it as we go along. We got years to fix this. We don't have to hurry. Okay? What's more important is that he's proud of himself. Okay? So that's good. Now, again, he'll flip things around. Okay? The letters will flip around. Don't correct that because for young children, their brain cannot actually see left and right. So, if you're trying to correct it, they're like, why, if they write their B like this, okay, they write their B like that, and you try and fix it and make them write it correctly, they don't see the difference. So they're like wondering, why are you wasting my time? I did it right, okay? It's only till around like 4 or 5 years old where they start actually seeing left and right, okay? And actually, like younger children, you'll notice, like K0, they don't even see shapes on the paper as like a cat or something like that, right? So it takes them a while to recognize those things as a triangle or as a dog, If you ever look at when the little kids, the 3-year-olds, when they color in a coloring book, they just all over everything because they don't recognize the lines on the paper as being a cat or being a train. They're just coloring, they're enjoying themselves, okay? So if you try and get a 2-year-old to color in the lines, they're gonna, I don't want to, now it's not funny. So it has to be age appropriate, okay? Where you start to care about these things. So if a 2-year-old is scribbling, yeah, it's having a good time. If a 6-year-old is scribbling, no, different, okay? So you have to judge based on what level and what age they are, where they're at right now, and then what's the next step, okay? So so they've drawn their thing now, depending on the age again. So around K1, K2, if they can make a letter, good job. If their letter looks like, if that's their P, good job, all right? And then what you do is you do the same picture, the exact same picture, every evening. It should take about 5-10 minutes to do this. You'll see by the end of the week, you can see some improvement. Okay, so what should happen is our substitute teachers are doing their phonics book. They do this at the beginning of the week, and then this goes home. The parents should know what shape or what picture we're working on. We have a list of all our pictures that we do for these letters, and then the parents can work on it at home. Okay, it's not homework. It's not required. You're busy. You don't have to do it. It's okay, right? But if they can, and they have 5-10 minutes free, they should do something, activity like this. And what's really nice to do actually is if you get a notebook, something like this. These actually are really nice because the spiral lays flat. If you have the ones that they don't have a spiral, then they have to push it down. It's really difficult. It's always closing on them. So you get a spiral notebook like that. You have one, they have one. Okay, practice that shape. Practice it again tomorrow. Practice it again, practice it again. And what you'll see, it's really nice because by the end of the year, you'll see the improvement in their lines, you'll see, so you can see, then that'll start to give you confidence that, it is working. So the first time you may get something that looks like a mess, but over time you'll start to see something that looks more and more like what you're drawing for them. And you'll feel like, okay, I've made progress. So if you're doing it just every day and you're like you're not keeping track, you're just throwing these things out, you might not notice the change. But if you have it in a notebook like that, then it's really nice to look back and see how far they've come. Okay? I really recommend that parents just get a spiral bound notebook for each the parent and the student, and they just do a little bit of writing practice every day. Again, don't overdo. If they're tired, don't do it. You can always do it tomorrow. It's not required. It's not something that if you skip it, oh my goodness, my kid's not going to learn it. Take a week off, no big deal. Okay, but it's just something that you can do in the evening. Now with the older kids, as they get a little bit older, maybe we might try and write the word pig. Okay, so mom or dad will write the word pig and then the student can try it there. Or you might get them to write a sentence. Okay, something like that. Okay, using some sight words and then their word. Or if they're in K3 or P1, they should definitely be writing a few lines. Now, if you have some reluctant writers, or if you're not sure what their writing level is, what you can do is you can ask them a couple of questions. Like, where does the pig live? Where does the pig live? Okay, now a single word answer, that's our level 1. Okay, can you give me a higher level and give me a complete sentence? Pig lives on a farm. Okay, and so they might say pig live on farm. They might say it incorrectly, and then what the parent can do is write it down for them. Okay, so if I've got my K2 kid or even my K1 kid, I can ask them a question like that, they can give me an answer, and then I can write it down, and then that's writing for K1 and K2. The child will dictate to the parent, and then the parent will act as like the secretary and write down what they wrote, okay? So the parent can have a conversation with their kid and then write down that a little bit, okay? Teachers here should be doing that as well, okay? So that when the parents see something in the binder, they should see like, okay, this thing's done, and then the teacher may have written down what the conversation was about, okay? And that's where you start to get writing, because writing isn't simply just getting the grammar and spelling right or having like neat letters. Writing is also about telling a story, providing information to your reader, okay? So there's a lot more to writing than just simply having good grammar and spelling and having a beautiful handwriting. It's also the content you're trying to produce. So as parents, what you can do is you can ask questions, ask for more details, okay? Ask for a bit more, okay? So you don't just say something like, what color is a pig? A pig is pink, okay, that's one thing. But ask something else, like, do you know what pigs eat? Or, okay, where do they live on the farm? Okay, they live in the pen on the farm, right? You can ask a little bit more. Okay, where do they sleep? Okay, do they sleep in the house, or do they sleep on the hay? Where do they sleep? So you can ask just a little bit more, get a little more details from them, and flesh it out a little bit, okay? So that's where you start to get true writing. Okay, so every week we should have a picture that we want them to practice with that should go up to all students. Depending on the grade level, K3, K1, K0, P1, P2, whatever it is, you would have different expectations for what the kids can do. And then the parents can work on it at home. They can check to make sure that the pencil grip is okay. So what you're really doing at home, that's why you don't really care what it looks like, because what you're really doing is you're looking at whether or not they're holding the pencil right. Again, K0, K1, don't care. Okay, it'll fix itself. Okay, let them be happy. Okay, K2, let's start correcting that pencil grip if we can. If they're reluctant about it, okay, try again tomorrow. Try again tomorrow. Try again tomorrow. Okay. K3, P1, yeah, we need to make sure that they're doing it right. If we got a K3 student who's holding their pencil like this, that needs to be fixed. Okay, so we're gonna get them to write like this by the time at the end of K3. It should be every student should write like this. Okay. Now, as far as the content of what they're writing, again, if they have like a notebook, you can just do it as a diary. Like, what'd you eat today? Where are you going? What are you going to do tomorrow? Are you going to Harborland tomorrow? Okay, what are you going to do? You're going to go on the slider? Okay, I will go to Harborland tomorrow and I will go on the slider, and then the kid can just draw a picture of themselves on the slider. That's writing practice. You do that every day. Just keep a little diary. It's a nice way to, in addition to reading with your child at night, you should try practicing recording a diary with them. And then they can tell stories, you can get a little more detail, you want to make comic books, whatever. And again, it's not about finishing it. It's not about, okay, we got to get this done today, okay? It's about how well you do it, okay? So if they need a little extra time, they need, if they're tired, you want to try again tomorrow, good, okay? But don't try and push beyond the point where they're tired. So if you are trying to get them to write and they're like, meow, okay, all right, maybe we'll try again tomorrow. It's okay. But then when they are doing it, okay, so if you've got a K3 student and you ask them to go write something, okay, so for example, today I had one of my K3 students who was very reluctant to write. And what they were doing is they were just doing random things. They were just like, okay, and I asked them to write it is a pig. Okay, so I asked my K3 student to write, no, sorry, P1 student actually, P1 student to write, it is a pig, and they didn't want to do it. Okay, I don't want to do it, right? So they're like, T, N, Q, W, C, D, and they're doing this on purpose. Okay, they're doing this so that I'll come along and write it correctly, and then they can copy. So they give me random nonsense in order to get out of actually doing the work. Okay? So I have to say no. Try again. Okay? They didn't want to do it, so they gave more random nonsense. Try again. Try again. Try again. Okay? But that's because that child's in P1. And so I'm not going to allow that. If it's K0 and they're writing random nonsense on the paper, great, good job, you know, having fun, right? So again, it's about age-appropriate expectations, okay? At P1, I have an expectation that they will try, okay? I don't expect them to get it right, okay? But I expect them to try, okay? So this, not trying, do it again, you're gonna try. Once they did try, they actually do it all along. They could easily do it, okay? But because they were like reluctant to try, what they'd done is they'd learned a survival technique that if I wait long enough or if I just do random nonsense, some adult will come along and give me the answer. And that's their technique. That's what they've learned to do to solve that problem. Teacher wants me to write something, I'll just give them random nonsense until they get tired and give me the right answer. Or at home, they might do that at home, like, oh, well, you know, mom wants me to write something, but, you know, I don't want to do it, so I'll just stand here and go, until mom comes along and writes it for me. So if you've got a reluctant writer like that, where they don't want to do it, don't push too much. Don't be like, you know, do it. Don't give them the answers. Don't do this. Say, all right, we're going to try again tomorrow. We're going to try again tomorrow. But you are going to do it. I'm not giving you an answer. You need to try and put your best answer down on the paper, and then I will help you. Okay? But never give them the answer without trying first. They have to give you something, and then you can correct it and give something back. Okay? So it's a real, you have to like use your judgment on when to push and when not to push. Okay? So if you've got somebody who's reluctant, it is very, very difficult to do that dance, like pushing just enough to get them to do it, but at the same time not having them push back and I don't want to do this at all now. So it's very challenging. You just have to get it right. It should be a discussion between the homeroom teacher, the subject teacher, me even, and the parent, and we should all be working and agreeing on our plan, okay? So if we do have any reluctant writers, the parents should be in contact with us and talking to us and getting advice from us so they can help at home and supplement at home, okay? It's a very, very tricky thing, and not everybody gets it right. So, but it's okay, you know, if you get it wrong, we can correct and do it better. But it is something that is very, very challenging for parents to correct at home without any advice and help. So we have to work together. Okay? It has to be a team effort, and the student has to participate and be on that team. The student has to want to get better too. Okay? So how do we create that desire to write more? Well, for one, if they do something and it looks good, put it up on the refrigerator. Be proud of it. Okay? All right. Okay, Mark. Okay, right. You wrote your name. You did a nice pig. Put it up on the refrigerator. Make them proud of their writing. Okay? What you don't want to do is whip out that red pencil and be like, let's fix it. If your child comes up to you and runs up to you and says, oh, look what I did. I'm so proud of my stuff. Look at me. In that moment, savoring. I don't know the Thai word for savoring, but you know, like you got a nice piece of chocolate in your mouth, and you just want to hold it in there. So when your kid comes up, just savor that moment. Just be in the moment. Just be proud of them. You can fix mistakes tomorrow. Don't need to fix them today. If you see something on the paper that you want to fix, do it tomorrow. But in the moment when they come up to you and they're proud, share and don't overdo it. Okay, don't overpraise, but just be like, yeah, I'm really proud of you. Put it up on the refrigerator. You know. The other parent comes home, look what my kid, your kid did today. Look at that, it's amazing, oh great. Okay, and everybody's happy. You know, call up grandma, have her show it online. Look, oh, they did, okay, good. And then tomorrow, you can talk, hey, let's practice our S and make it a little better, okay? And then, you know, S is like a snake, make it fun, right? And then when they are more confident in their abilities, then you can start correcting things and you can start asking more of them. But you have to create that desire to write first. So if you do have a reluctant writer, you have to give them a reason to write, which is why I really do not like it when people say, okay, do A 100 times on the page and stuff like that. Okay? What are we doing here? Okay? Why are we doing that? This is terrible. Never do that. Okay? You want to correct A. If they do like this, okay, and they make their A like that, okay, they're writing like B-A-T. They wrote the word bat, and it looks like this. I can just very simply underwrite underneath. Not even mentioning what they did wrong. I could just underwrite there. The kids will see it. They see it. Okay? You don't have to get out the red pencil and mark things wrong or anything like that. You just underwrite, and it's fine. They'll fix it over time. We've got years to fix these problems. So you just do that, and then they will fix it on their own. Okay? But if they like writing and they write more, it's just like anything. Playing a video game, riding a bike. The more you do it, the better you get. So if we take care of the motivation, okay, I want to write every day. I like writing it. When I spend time with my parents, they like it when we sit down and we do something like this. We write in our journal together. It's close and warm. Mom's not criticizing me. Dad's not making me write A 100 times. And, oh, you made this one wrong. I'm going to go through and pick out the ones you did incorrectly and make you redo them again. Oh my goodness. Your kid's going to hate writing. So instead, if you just have a nice warm feeling, they like to write, they write something really well, you put it up on the refrigerator and show everybody you're proud of them, then what will happen is they'll be like, I want to write, I want to get better at doing this. And then it's much easier to correct that student, because then they're like, okay, well, what do I need to do, teacher? How do I make that better? And they'll try, and they'll be self-motivated to fix their own mistakes. So then if you do this and you don't have a motivated student, they won't care. But if you do this and then you underwrite like this and you have a motivated student, they'll practice that word on their own because they want to get better at it. Okay? If kids love to do something, they naturally get better at it. So really that's the main thing, is parents, the best thing they can do for their kids is to cultivate that love. Okay? Right? So that's why the experience should be short, not too much, and it shouldn't overdo it, shouldn't be overly critical, shouldn't overly fix things, okay? The experience should be warm, tender, loving, proud, okay? Those are the feelings that you should be giving your kid about writing, okay? And if you're cultivating that within your child, then they will write, and if they write, they'll get better. You don't have to worry about it. Okay, between the school and home, we'll make sure that they can write well. Okay, that's the writing handwriting lesson. Thank you. Okay. All right. Good.